Hi. I've been posting a lot of photos um, lately, and I'm still posting on affordable housing. We had a meeting a couple of days ago, people in the building, and actually, we had this wonderful dinner. It was a goodbye dinner from CJE. We've been spoiled. There's some wonderful people. There are some people who really do good work. CJE has done some really good things for us. Again, if you're just tuning into these and you want what I'm talking about with affordable housing, it means that the housing that you get to live in at least meets the standards of the housing authorities, the government's authority on median incomes. For example, if you make only $20,000 a year, you're considered low income. And CHA goes, other affordable housing is that you don't pay any more than a third of what your income is. Well, a lot of people don't even make $20,000. There are some people who make $40,000, and that's considered lower middle class. Um, So there are people who, uh, well, this affordable housing thing is so controversial because when you get people who make $100,000 a year, $200,000 a year, they don't want to live next to somebody who makes $20,000 a year or who's poor. They don't want to live with children because a lot of millennials are not having children anymore. And most of the market is geared toward millennials, not old people, not senior citizens. So they're not even considering us at all. And yet we are the chunk of saved money in America. So how you could just kind of diss us is kind of interesting because we're the ones that created trust funds for our kids. We're the ones that actually bought stuff. We actually are the greatest market they have, and yet they haven't figured out how to address our needs. It isn't just charging us a lot of money. You need to build a community for us. I've been to the breakers and I've seen how people live in the breakers. Those people pay about $3,000 a month. They get 3 meals a day, and they have movie night and they have entertainment or whatever. So if you can afford $3,000 or $5,000 a month, that's a great place to be as a senior citizen. I guess I haven't interviewed anybody there. Maybe I'll talk to somebody at the breakers and find out just how the breakers works. Maybe I can get an interview. Maybe we can just see how these people live. But anyway, I can't afford $3,000 a month. Even at my meager pension, which is not piddly. I'm grateful for the 20 years I spent in the Park District, but still, I can't afford that. And with student loans too, and all of those things, I don't have a lot of money. But neither do the people in my building. They don't have a lot of money. And we're not trying to live on welfare. We're not trying to get a Section 8. Not that is anything wrong with that. But we're just trying to live independently. This is the thing that is. I don't want to be a burden to my sister, to my nephews, to my family. And when I say that, that's the reason why I'm fighting for my independence. My independence is their independence too. My working to take care of myself is helping them to keep their life on focus and keep their life straight. But I mean, after I had my stroke, before I had my stroke, it was like I don't need anybody. I could take care of myself. After I had my stroke, it was my sister that came into the hospital when they had decided that they were going to give me a defibrillator, and I wasn't even cognizant of the fact that They just came in and told me, we're going to, do you live alone? I said, yes. And they came in and said, we're going to give you a defibrillator tomorrow. And so my sister called and was saying, what's going on? And I said, they said they're going to give me a procedure tomorrow. And my sister said, a procedure? What are they talking about? I said, they're going to give me a machine in my heart. My sister was like, what the hell? My sister called up. She came down there. She said, who do you people think you are? You can't just have a procedure. What are you talking about? And it was at that point I needed what do they call it, a POA, a power of attorney. If my sister Sheila, I love that girl. We have our moments because, sisters have their moments. But if it wasn't for my sister, I'd be sitting with a thing in my heart beating. And you know what? They told her, we're going to give her the test. She had the stroke. We're going to give her the test and she's going to get the. And my sister said, I want to see the test first. So they gave me the test. And so after they gave me the test, they closed the curtain and moved it to the side. So my sister said, what happened to the procedure? They said, oh, she doesn't need one. Her heart is stable enough after these few days that she doesn't need it. My sister said, so you were just going to give her the procedure without checking first? My sister, I love her. She scared the shit out of them. I'm sorry for saying that word. But my sister was Attila, okay? And so anyway, my sister, from then on, my sister was like, you don't touch her with anything foreign or any procedures until you talk to me. Because she's not herself. She's not herself. And I thank God that I don't have children. I don't have a husband, but I know people here who do have children that never visit them, that don't give a damn about them. So I thank God for my sister Sheila. I thank God for my nephews, Cordy and Jeremy. They would just show up at the hospital and they would sit there and help me eat, help feed me. Oh my God, to have people love you like that, to have people love you, be good to people, because you never know, like they say, be careful of what you do to people because you don't know who's going to be around at the end. There's a story in the Bible about the Apostle Paul. That he at one time was a persecutor of the Christians. They were called Christians in Rome, but he would kill them. He did all kinds of cruel things to Christians, and he would go in their house and pull them out, drag them out. He would tie them up and make them rescind that they believed in God, or if they didn't, he'd kill them. He'd kill them anyway. He killed hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. He was a terror, a horrible killer of people. But he met Christ on the road to Damascus. God said, Paul, why are you persecuting me? And Paul said, who are you, Lord? And that what's extraordinary about that story is here he was a killer and God appeared to him. Here he was destroying the very people who believed in the Creator who was talking to him. And then he said, Paul, you're going to be blind till I send somebody to you, and they're going to tell you I'm going to tell you what to do. But the point I'm trying to make is this story is that the only person who would believe in Paul after he got converted was another apostle called Barnabas. Barnabas was a very nice man. Everybody loved Barnabas because he was very forgiving. He was honest. He was whatever. And when he met Paul, he said, this guy is sincere. This guy is sincere. I'll stake my life on this guy. He has found Christ. Do you understand? He's a good guy. But a lot of the Christians never accepted him. As a matter of fact, a lot of them tried to set Paul up to kill him. But anyway, the story I'm trying to get about being good to people. Paul and Barnabas set out on their travels to tell people about Christ. They went to Asia. They went a lot of different places. And there was a young man named John. And John, I think is John Mark. And he was a young guy. He couldn't take the rigors of that hard life. He couldn't take taking the ships. He couldn't take walking. He couldn't take the rejection. He couldn't take getting sick. He couldn't stand it. And so at one point he left. He left Barnabas, Paul and Barnabas. He left them. And a little bit later on, they all come back home. Paul and Barnabas, they come back home. And they decide to go back after a while to visit some of the people that they had visited before. And Barnabas said, let's take John Mark. He wants to go. And Paul said, no, not John Mark. He's unreliable. And he said, but Paul, he was young. He made a mistake, but he's ready now. He's prepared for the journey. He knows how bad it is. Let's take him. And Paul says, no. He choked. He left us. He left the mission. He doesn't deserve it. Once you put your hand to the plow and you turn your hand back, you're not worthy. And they had such a major fight about John Mark. And the fight was so big, Barnabas said, I'm going to stay with John Mark. And Paul said, fine then, I'm done. You know, if you want to deal with this loser, if you want to deal with this guy that's unreliable, you go ahead. And Paul and Barnabas broke up as a team. And Paul went on his way with some other people on his mission. But the point is that over at the very end, when Paul was in prison, he was imprisoned by, you know, the powers that be, Felix, and all of the people that the kind of, what is it, the Pharaoh? No, not the Pharaoh. Rome. The Caesar. Okay. I'm mixed up because I don't have a Bible in my hand and all that, but I wasn't prepared to tell this story. But what I want to say about that is when Paul was at his worst, when people weren't there visiting him and taking care of him and ministering to him, who was the person that showed up for Paul? John Mark. He was there when Paul died. He was there being devoted to this man of God, even though this man had no respect for him. But at the end, he said, thank you for being, he said to God, thanks for John Mark. See, because you never know who's going to show up. The flake that let you down might show up. The one that talked about you just might show up. So that's why you got to have forgiveness in your heart, because you never know what's going to happen. Me and my sister had many difficult moments, but my sister was there for me. Do you understand? That's why forgiveness has got to be a part of your DNA, even if it's hard for you. Forgiveness got to be in your heart so God can move in your favor. Do you understand? So he can move in your favor. Anyway, I don't like to make these things really long because people don't watch them really. So if you see some of it, maybe it'll make a difference to you. But life, I tell you, you never know. You never know. God bless you.